What would happen if you did? What would happen if you didn't? What wouldn't happen if you did? And what would not happen if you did not do it? And that will start to elicit positives and some negatives. And then that is a little poke up the backside to get you moving. Hey guys, Matt Tate here, Fork in the Road YouTube channel, your channel for transformation. So, how are we going to transform you today? Well, today I want to talk a little bit about a book I'm reading at the moment, and it's an old classic in coaching land, and it's Awaken the Giant Within, Tony Robbins, and I'll put the book over here somewhere. And Awaken the Giant Within, it's an interesting book, and he's already in the first 3 or 4 chapters got some very interesting insights. And one of the things that really jumped out at me was that all of your beliefs, all of our identities that come from those beliefs, all of our generalisations that were the beginning points of those beliefs, they all came from two powerful forces that impact every human being. And that is pleasure and pain. Really powerful, because all your beliefs are about you moving away from pain, or at least how you perceive you're getting away from pain. And also some of the beliefs are because you want to go towards pleasure. And here's the interesting thing, it's the pain part that is the one that has the most power, because as human beings we are highly motivated to move away from pain. So this is an interesting one because he brings up a bunch of different stories. The classic one he brings up is how the decisions that you make as to what something means. There was these 2 brothers, and the 2 brothers grew up under a highly abusive father. And the 2 brothers left home and they led totally different lives. One brother was an alcoholic, a drug addict, and all sorts of things were going wrong in his life, ended up in prison. And his answer was, well, what did you expect? My father was abusive, my father was an alcoholic, and we were in a terrible place. The other brother, however, ended up having an amazing life. Was very responsible father, husband, held a very good job in a multinational corporation of some sort, was living the stereotypical dream. And so the people interviewed him separately, and they said to him, well, so how did you end up this way? And he said, well, what did you expect? My father was a drunk, my father was an alcoholic, our father abused us, and, it was a terrible life. Exactly the same words, very similar words to his brother, but he had made a totally different set of decisions. His decisions, which was running away from pain, but his decisions were running away from the pain of being like his father, so I'm going to be the exact opposite. And he associated more pleasure with moving away and the pain of moving away from being like his father. On the other hand, brother number 1 associated pain with the fact that he's focused on the pain, he's actually perpetuating the pain. And so he's not moving away from it, he ends up moving towards it, but unconsciously he's trying to move away from it, but he's ended up being exactly like his father. So it's interesting, the beliefs that we have inside of us, and how they can dictate different things, decisions we make as to what is going to drive you to move forward. Now I thought, well, this is cool, this is very interesting stuff. And I thought, well, how could I approach this with some of the other techniques we have in coaching? How could you elicit the pleasure or the pain from a situation to help motivate someone to take an action, do something about it, right? Whatever it is you want to do. It could be building a business, could be improving in a sport, it could be asking the girl out or the boy out, or it could be whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And so there's some action you need to take. And so I thought, why not bring forward the idea of Cartesian Coordinates. Now this is one of the simple techniques you learn in, I learned it in Masters actually. And the Cartesian Coordinates, I thought, why not bring that forward to see if you can elicit what would happen if you actually did or didn't do these things that you want to do, and elicit some pain and pleasure. Because when you elicit the pain and the pleasure, you can move yourself forward. So I thought, well, why not move this pain pleasure thing? If it's going to actually move the dial and get you moving forward, why not move it? Why not get you moving forward? Why not move you in that direction? Why not get you to take action? And so that's what I was talking about when I was going to use the Cartesian Coordinates. So let's do it. Let's do some Cartesian Coordinates. What is that? I hear you ask. Well, it's a little tool you use in coaching, and you can use it for yourself. And there's basically 4 simple questions. All right, so I'll use this on myself in this context and see if I can elicit some pain and pleasure towards taking an action. And you can use this for yourself. So think about something you want to take an action on, get it as specific as you can. And I'm going to use the example of, I have been flipping and flopping about what the next online course, mini course, lead magnet, all these other coachy things you have to do. But there's going to be something I want to produce for people, and I've got a million tools. So if I was to do the first tool that I would use, what would I use? Let's go with values. If I was to do a mini course on values, right? So I'm going to do a video series. Some of that will end up on YouTube. Some of it will end up in a little online course with on an email sequence. And later on, some of it might end up in a paid course down the track, depending on what resonates with people. So I thought, okay, so that's my specific action that I want to take, because I've been flipping and flopping on too many different options, and I know values is actually the first one I should do because it's the first thing I do with any coaching client. So let's do a video series on values. All right, I'm convincing myself as I'm going, right? Okay, so now I want to motivate myself into action to take the videos like this one, and I want to motivate myself to then find somewhere I can sit it online where it can go into an email sequence, because I'm always stressing about the, what do you call it? Like the MailChimp type software that you have to use to get these things online. And then how's it going to be paid for and all those sorts of things. But first, let's actually get the video idea down and then verify it, right? So that's the first action. I've got 10 different things I can do straight away without needing to stress about all the tech stuff yet. So there's my specific action. And so this is the questioning sequence. What would happen if I did record the videos? What would happen if I did? That's the first question. So what would happen if I did record the videos, or at least I recorded maybe a rough draft, and I maybe wrote down a small short sequence that people could absorb? What would happen if I did? Well, this is probably going to elicit some more pleasure. I'm going to enjoy doing the videos because I enjoy doing these videos. I'm going to look at the videos, and whenever I look at a video that I do, I can always see something that can be improved. I can always see some deeper message that's actually more resonant with the audience, or with, let's say, my YouTube channel. I can see something that's more valuable. I'm going to get some nugget of gold from my first pass. I can see it, right? And then from that, I can use that information to go and check online to see if this is something people really want, or they might not even know they want it, but it might be, there'll be something underneath it that is driving the value for people, right? So I can go and look and use this, right? So what's good about this is, if the very first question is, what would happen if I did, I get really clear on some stepping stones towards the first free product and then the first paid product, right? So I get really clear, and I'll be moving forward, and I'll have progressed. I'll feel good about myself, right? So that's pleasurable. And what would happen if I did? That's a positive. I'm actually getting motivated in a positive way for that. So the pain side of it's not really there. Okay, so the next question, which I could see straight away when I read this part in the Tony Robbins book about pleasure and pain, I could see straight away that pleasure and pain, the pain part is, what would happen if I did not do these videos? What will happen? And this is where the pain comes out. Because I can tell you I'll be frustrated with myself if I don't do the first beta test. I'll be annoyed, I'll be not progressing, I'll be not growing, I will not be connecting with my audience, I won't be producing anything new for my YouTube channel, I won't be expanding myself, I won't be stepping towards content that can be used in the future in a multiple different ways, I won't be creating digital assets, blah blah blah. Okay, it's a bit of pain there. Coaching wise, I could do the values underneath that and say, well, okay, what's important about not all those things not being there? Well, pain and frustration. I'm annoyed, not growing, not moving forward. Yeah, there's a lot of pain there because I've done that in the past and I don't want to do that again. That holding, that hesitation. Okay, so that's cool. So all right, I'm getting a bit more motivated now. I'm moving away from not doing it and towards doing it. So that's the two questions so far. The first question is what would happen if you did? The second question is what would happen if you didn't, right? Now we move to question number 3. And what is that? What will not happen if you do? Now this is like a negative on top of a positive. So, all right, so you've done the video, but what won't happen? Well, I won't be frustrated. I won't be wondering what to do. I'll be focused on this. So I won't be defocused. I won't be, what else won't I be? I won't be stuck. I won't be stalled. I won't be pausing. I won't be annoyed with myself or with the process. Yeah, so there's some really good negatives that are coming out of that too. These are pain points that have been annoying in different times in my life in the past. So okay, that's awesome. So we've got a bit of pain that we can use to motivate ourselves. So what's the next one? The fourth question. What is the fourth question? So we've got what would happen if you did is the first one. What would happen if you didn't? What would happen? What would not happen if you do? And the fourth question is what won't happen if you don't? What won't happen if you don't? So what won't happen if you don't do the video, right? So there's no video being made. What won't happen? Well, what won't happen is you won't end up with a YouTube video. You won't end up with an online course. You won't end up connecting with more people through providing value. You won't end up being proud of yourself, right? So there's a lot of good content there. So pleasure and pain. So now you go through those 4 questions and elicit some pleasure and elicit some pain. Let's go up these stairs a little bit and ask yourself those questions to get you moving forward, right? So pleasure and pain comes from the beliefs. Now, of course, you can do this on your beliefs as well. You can do this on your identities. You can do this same sort of thing, but I did it on a particular action. And so, just moving away from where there's some people. So that is my little video today about using Cartesian coordinates to elicit your pleasure and your pain to help you to move forward. Because what I noticed when I actually did this for myself, well, I didn't even do Cartesian coordinates. I just elicited some of the pleasures and pains as to how this is a bit good or a bad thing, doing different things. And I found myself getting a lot more focused on the business of the coaching practice, the business set up in the background. I found myself where I was avoiding it, starting to move forward on it. I found myself going and checking out other people's landing pages and websites and trying to decide a pathway for myself. I found myself following along a lot more closely some of the free content I had, some of the paid content I'd had. I found myself, all of a sudden, I was shifting who I was, how I was behaving, because something was more important instead. So, I hope that motivates you guys today to elicit a bit of pain and pleasure to take an action. The goal of this is not to focus on the pain. The goal of this is to take an action to move away from the pain. Now, there's a lot of more unconscious things you can do. This is a bit more logical. There's the hidden unconscious things going on, and that's where we can uncover in that deeper work the pleasure and the pain that you've associated, and especially the pain around some of your beliefs, because some of your beliefs that you've held high, and that's a different video we'll go into, some of those beliefs are caused or derived from generalizations on moving away from pain. And you don't even question them. All of our beliefs are just really generalizations that we've made up, but we do not question them because they're highly unconscious. Now, if you're living a great life, don't change your beliefs. Great, roll on. Good on you. Woohoo. But if you're not happy with your life, then there's something that you're doing to yourself. And that's where my superpower is helping you to identify, helping you to shift, and helping you to move forward internally, and then we'll become accountable for what the actions are on the outside. All right, guys, I hope that helps. Cartesian coordinates, what would happen if you did, what would happen if you didn't, what wouldn't happen if you did, and what would not happen if you did not do it. And that will start to elicit positives and some negatives. And then that is a little poke up the backside to get you moving. Matt Tate signing out. I hope you enjoyed Cartesian Coordinates.